do was lend a little bit of my expertise to you and teach you how to buy like a pro. The goal tonight is to give you some tips and tricks and basically show you a little bit more about the car sales role and kind of demystify the whole process for you. So how many of us here have purchased a vehicle in the last 2 to 3 years? Okay, that's a fair amount. I myself has also recently purchased a vehicle. Now, how many of us here plan on purchasing a vehicle within the next few years? All right, another good amount of people. So hopefully this information will be very valuable for you this evening. Let's be honest. When you purchase a vehicle, it can be one of the most nerve-wracking experiences. You're forced to make key decisions in a very short period of time, and the mistakes made can live with you often throughout the life of that vehicle. So tonight, what I want to do is share with you a 4-step process to help you buy like a pro. But first, it's important to establish some ground rules about how to buy a vehicle, and these are just good thoughts to have. The first thing is you want to establish a budget. You want to know how much you want to spend, whether that's a monthly payment or a total amount. So make sure you establish a budget first and foremost before you ever step foot on a lot. The next thing you also want to do is remember that time is your friend. When you go in to purchase a vehicle, the biggest mistake that we make is rushing through the process. Even though we feel like we have to do it then, the salesperson's saying, do it now, do it now, do it now, the best deal's now. You have to wait. Time is your friend. Rushing will cost you big money, I promise you. Another thing, if you have the capacity to do it, is you want to sell your car outright. Okay, you do not want to go in and trade that vehicle. Okay, again, this is where time is very important. If you have time, you can put your car in the open market, and I can assure you, you are going to make a lot more money on that vehicle selling it outright than if you go and walk into a car dealership and try to trade it in. Trading your car in a dealership is a convenience, and it's a costly convenience at that. So remember, try to sell your car outright if you have the ability. Also, perform for yourself a wants and needs analysis. What kind of car are you looking for? That way you have it very narrowed down to exactly what you need. 2-door, 4-door, stick shift, automatic. You should have a good idea of what you want to buy. You should never walk into a dealership and say, I think I want that car, or I think that car will work for me. Know what you want to spend, make sure you're prepared. And finally, remember, the most important thing is you're always in control of the sale. Even though the salesperson's job is to take control, you control the sale because you are the one with the money. You're the one who can walk up anytime, leave the dealership, you own the leverage. So remember, you control the sale. So let's more importantly get, though, into the steps of making a correct car purchase. The first one, by far and away the most important thing that you'll ever have to do, is you're going to need to research. What do I mean by research? Well, let's start by finding the car that you want. You can do that by going to a number of websites. I'd personally recommend cars.com, autotrader.com, fantastic websites in order to not only get an idea of what you want. You can find about 100 cars within a 100-mile radius, all very similar. You're going to get a realistic expectation of what the high and the low values of those cars are, which is going to give you an idea of what the market is. Okay, so as you research these cars, if you go into the lot, if you knowledge is power, if you go in there knowing what that car is worth, you stand a much better chance of getting the deal that you want. Secondly, you need to research what your car is worth. So let's say you can't sell your car outright, you have to go make that trade-in. Well, you need to research the market value of what your vehicle is worth. That can also be done by looking at comps. Just like homes, you look at similar vehicles that also have the same features that you have, the same year, model, miles, the whole 9 yards, and then you'll find out what the real market value is. Now, my recommendation, too, is to go to Kelley Blue Book and NADA. Those are guides, okay? It's not necessarily what you're going to get. You might get higher, you might get lower, but they're going to give you a pretty good representation of what the market value of your car is. So if you're armed with that knowledge, you walk into a dealership, you know what their car is worth, you know what your car is worth, you know what your deal needs to be. You know if you're getting a good deal, you'll never leave again and say, I got a terrible deal. Okay, so do the research. The next thing you want to do is when you go into a dealership, you found the car you like, you want to basically hide your trade. Now, I've heard arguments both ways on what you want to do with your trade. You always want to be up front. No. listen to me. These car people, and I've done this for years, are going to take every advantage of you and everything they can. If they can make you pay more money, that means more money for their pocket. So hide your trade-in. If you go in there, the last thing you want to tell them is, I have a trade-in. Okay? Whatever they say, you don't have a trade. You're giving it away, you're selling it to someone else, it's already sold, doesn't make a difference. What that does is allow you to leverage the situation, and basically, when a car dealer brings you a number on a car, okay, I'm going to buy car X, and it's going to cost you X amount of money. If you have a trade-in, if you combine those two numbers, that's the number you see. Okay? Their vehicle less your vehicle equals the total price. The problem with that strategy for us consumers is that that doesn't allow you to really know what they're selling their car for, nor does it allow you to know what they're buying your car for. It's a mixed number. Who knows if they're giving you a great discount? Who knows if they're not giving you anything for your trade-in? If you hide that trade-in and never bring it back out until the end of the deal, then you can assure yourself that you will negotiate the best number on their car. When that's done, you bring in a trade-in. You say, hey, I've got a trade-in at this point. I think I do want to trade that car in. At that point, then you're able to negotiate the two cars separately. You negotiate the price on the new car, then you come in and negotiate the price on the second car, which I guarantee you will end up at a better deal. That's why people don't like when you do it. You're working both sides of the trade. Now, also you want to negotiate with leverage. There's tricks of the trade in the car business, and they're very simple. How many of us here bought a car, and who cares what the price is? I just want a monthly payment, right? Okay, whatever your monthly payment is. I can back you into a 72-month loan at a payment you want and charge you whatever I feel like. Okay, so don't fall into the payment trap. Payments are irrelevant. It's what you're paying for the vehicle, and if you're smart enough to know and set up how much that you can afford up front, it doesn't matter what you're paying or what the ultimate payment is. You want the terms you want at the price you want. Now also, trade value, again, is undisclosed a lot of times when you do bring your trade in too soon, so make sure, again, bring that trade in late into the game. Also for new car buyers, I know Howard purchased a new Malibu, right? Okay, new car buyers, incentives and rebates, they're all great, wonderful things. Don't let a dealership use incentives and rebates against you. That's money that's given to them by GM, by Ford, by whomever. That's not dealer money. It doesn't come out of their pocket. Rebates and incentives aside, always make sure you're still negotiating your best price. And I think the most important thing about buying a car is you have to be prepared to leave. Get up and walk out that door, because I guarantee you that salesman is going to call you back in 24 to 48 hours with the same deal, if not better. Don't fall into you got to do it now, my manager's making the best deal he can, I've got special buyers on the lot, I've got this, I've got that. No. Be prepared to walk out. I don't know how many times people have walked out on me, and guess who's calling who? I'm calling them to get them back in. So be prepared to walk out. Remember, it's not personal, it's business. These people will be your friends and give you lots of kudos all the way through the process, and at the end turn and say, oh geez, I thought we had a great relationship. Hey, when you sit down and negotiate, it's business, okay? They're not going to come to your family outing because you spent a little bit of extra money with them. Just negotiate hard, be a business person in that. Don't let emotions get involved in what you're doing. So negotiate with leverage. Finally, preparations. This is the thing that I think a lot of people miss out on, is in the F&I department, the finance and insurance department, which is the back office, the place where we go and mysteriously wait forever to go see this person who's going to work out our terms and conditions. Those products are filled with excess profits. Okay? So don't walk into a dealership saying, oh, I need to get financed, I need to do this. Line up your own financing. We all have a bank that we use or a credit union. I personally like credit unions because you never know, you always know what the rates are, they're published. A lot of people walk in, have maybe iffy credit, okay? Guess what? As a finance person, I could raise you 2 or 3 points on a loan, and I make all that profit for my dealership. It wasn't uncommon to make $1,000 per copy, which means $1,000 per car every time we sold a car, which is additional profit just in the back end of the F&I department. So make sure that you line up your own financing, come in prepared, use a credit union, again, that's a personal choice. Make sure you shop around for a warranty. If you're going to buy a Ford Fusion, Don't call the dealership you're going to. Call the dealership down the street and see what they'll sell you the warranty for, because they'll probably sell it to you for cheaper. Just go in there armed with that knowledge.